What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Queens of the North podcast. I am one of your hosts, Drew Jones, joined by...
I'm Gabby and Drew got the name of the podcast correct. Good job.
It is a lot of work.
Starting off right.
It's a lot of words, you know, Queens of the North. I mean, I feel like I could say that 5 times fast. Queens of the North, Queens of the North. I don't know.
You know, in my defense, we started this a year ago and we just never really fulfilled our goals. It just kind of, you know, we both got too busy and just like never happened. So forgot the name of the podcast.
Yeah, but here we are. Yeah. How you feeling? Okay, so victory week for both of us.
Yeah.
And the Browns won too on a late field goal. And obviously the only team that lost in the AFC North this week is the Bengals because we beat them. So how are you feeling about your Ravens?
I felt like they had a slow start. I was expecting more from Lamar, but I think it's fine. He didn't play in the preseason games, so had to shake off a little rust. Second half was way better for Lamar and for the offense and defense for that matter. I'm pretty excited to see what we look like against the Dolphins, considering they played a pretty good game against the Patriots. I had the Patriots defense on my fantasy team.
Oh no, that's rough. Hey, whoever had the Steelers D just really cashed in.
I really didn't think thoroughly with that because obviously Steelers D is massive, but we'll get into that a little later. How do you feel about your team?
You know, our win, I was really excited to like beat the Bengals with a new QB, you know, coming off of like, you know, really interesting off season. So I'm happy to get that season opening win, but you know, it came at a cost losing. Well, we don't know yet. I guess we'll find out soon here. This is Monday morning when we're recording here. So it's just, we'll find out if TJ's injury is going to be either short-term or long-term, but that is a little bit of a concern. If I had to choose between a win or losing TJ, I probably would have, or I guess if I did lose or losing TJ, I would have lost the game, but that's just me anyway.
You know, I think the Steelers surprised everyone because, I mean, their defense won the game for them, no doubt. Right?
Absolutely.
But, you know, their offense, it's not bad. They're just not rolling. You know, it's going to be hard playing some, you know, difficult teams. Who you guys playing at? You're playing the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So playing the Patriots next week, I think will be difficult because they have a pretty intense defense too. At least I thought they did. You know, they have a good defensive front. They have a couple of good DBs. So
Mac Jones might be hurt though, so we'll see if he'll play on Sunday.
True. That's true. Again, we're recording this on Monday, so we have a few days to really think about that and for the Patriots to evaluate him. But yeah, I mean, was surprised about the Steelers win. The Steelers win.
You told me last week that we were gonna lose, and I said, you know what? I go into every game thinking that we're gonna win, and what do you want?
Oh, I had, again, like, just my fantasy week this week, week 1, I just sucked. I sucked. And I had Joe Burrow as my quarterback. I remember I was texting you.
Poor thing.
4 interceptions. Thank God he had a few touchdowns, but like, I was so angry. Just, Joe, I expected more out of you. I thought this was going to be a bigger year for you. Week 1, whatever.
Just couldn't hold his own against the steel curtain.
I guess not. I mean, everyone overlooked the Steelers. Even their defense. I think there was a couple here and there that were like, the Steelers D. But until it came out on paper and until we saw it yesterday or on Sunday, I mean, the Steelers D, they're a real thing.
Yeah, we were talking before about how the Bills defense is pretty scary. And I mean, you know, barring any incredibly difficult setbacks with TJ, I mean, our defense looks pretty scary too.
Yeah, but I do feel like the Bills are the complete team on offense and defense. And
yeah, they got all the moving pieces for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but let's go into our hot takes, shall we?
Yeah, give me your favorite.
Oh,
your best hot take for the weekend.
Best hot take, which we talked about last week. I am tired of talking about it. Lamar Jackson, his contract. He's making $23 million this year. Diana Rossini talked to him yesterday after the win. So here's her tweet. She said, I spoke with Lamar Jackson, asked if he turned down the $160 million guaranteed. He said, well, that's not the exact number. He said roughly between $160 and $180 million was offered, and he turned it down last Friday. She asked him, you going to ride it out all year? He said, we'll see, with a smile.
Yeah, I think, it's a really difficult situation because I'm thinking back to like players who've had contract disputes with the Steelers, at least, Le'Veon Bell is top of mind and he held out. So the fact that, Lamar's not holding out, he's actually playing. I mean, he is making a substantial amount of money this year, but I mean, the Deshaun Watson contract, like that really is going to ruin it for a lot of owners and teams who want to pay good QBs, because QBs are going to stand their ground and say, hey, well, the Browns are paying this guy this much and it's this much guaranteed, so I deserve X amount too. And I'm also not causing you any problems off the field.
True. The Deshaun Watson, but the thing is, the Browns, that was an exception, right? Like, you don't see the Browns have been messing up their team for years now. And when we thought that they cleaned house 2 or 3 years ago, it was going to be a different team. Baker Mayfield in 2020 was a great quarterback. They went to the playoffs that year. And I still think he is a decent quarterback and has a lot left. He was injured last year, and people keep forgetting he had he did something with his shoulder. His other
might have torn his labrum, it could be, or something like that.
Yeah, tore his labrum, not his throwing shoulder, but doesn't matter. He had to wear a brace. He had a couple other injuries. I think he had a rib injury. So I think it's just, it's not fair what they did to him. And then again, the Browns are going to do what the Browns are going to do. Not most of the organizations are not going to make mess ups like that. They just, they aren't. They're not going to pay a quarterback, X amount, pretty much clearing them out of signing anyone else to a large deal. And I don't think Lamar really gets that. I think he definitely wants to see his teammates paid and everything. And he's been under the spotlight since he's gotten to the league, right? Everyone talks about Lamar Jackson left and right. I mean, I'm hearing Sunday night broadcast, Monday night broadcast, Ravens aren't playing, and he's brought up and the Ravens are brought up. I mean, he's under watch all the time. So from that standpoint, I get it. But again, this is what the Browns do. They make mess ups like this. It's what they do. They can't really pay anyone else right now, especially Deshaun Watson. Like, Deshaun Watson is a huge deal. He's not playing this year. It's an exception. It's something that's completely wrong on all ends. So I hate that we're even comparing it, because we have seen for years, Lamar's been around long enough where he knows the Browns just don't do it right. They don't.
Yeah, I think what's interesting too is about guaranteed money, which I do think a lot of players are owed a certain amount of guaranteed money because you have to protect yourself. Like, you could get injured, blah, blah, blah. But from a team perspective, it doesn't make, at least in my mind, business financial sense to give $230 million, because I mean, God forbid Deshaun Watson steps on the field and has a Joe Theismann type of injury and he's only played like 2 downs, and now you owe him $230 million and he can never play football again. Like, God forbid that would happen, but like, that doesn't make any fiscal sense for the team. And then it also kind of ruins it for the rest of the teams trying to sign their top tier players.
It doesn't. And I said this our first episode, why don't you get a short deal? Because it's going to go up in a couple years. What they owe you, the quarterback, someone else is going to set the standard. Why don't you just sign a short deal and then get paid for whatever the market is in a couple years? Like, what's wrong with that? Because the market's going to keep going up. People have been complaining about the cap. Who knows how long the cap's going to stay around for? Why don't you just
you can also get incentives too. Like, you can sign, hey, if you throw X amount of touchdown passes, then we're going to give you $10 million more dollars. And it's honestly, like, you're going to do that.
We're not in the meeting room. I said this is going to be a short segment. I've just been thinking.
Hey, vent to me. Tell me all your feelings.
Lamar, we're not in the meeting room. Like, if he's really going to bet on himself, I say he should tell them, if I get an X amount of passes, X amount of throws, X amount of touchdowns, then you owe me this $230 million, whatever he wants. Why not? Why not kind of make your bet, lay the bed, see what they say?
Hey, I'm with you. More power to you.
Yards passing yesterday, and then he had a couple touchdowns. Looked decent in the second half, especially you guys dealt with weather too. Ravens dealt with a ton of weather yesterday. I mean, most teams, week 1 was not on anyone's side when it came to weather, it looked like.
I was pretty impressed with Chicago was ridiculous. That made for some great content there at the end. Yeah, no, it's funny. I thought the Jets D actually looked, at least in the first half, looked pretty decent. But like you said, Lamar and the offense were kind of shaking off some rust. But I mean, same thing, like Lamar didn't play the last couple of games of last season because he was injured, right? So, I thought he looked really good running himself. I thought him, tossing it to Duvernay a couple of times and like, you might have found your guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the weapons are there. So, and I think it was just a really commanding win overall, but in dealing with weather conditions, not ideal.
Right. No, not ideal. So we'll probably talk about the contract again next week. I hope not. I'm so over it. It is what it is right now.
It's the elephant in the room. That's fine. We can ignore it next time.
Elephant in the room. He's going to be asked about it every week. It's just so annoying. I'm so over it. But
yeah,
moving on. I don't think there was a ton of injuries in the NFL yesterday. Did you?
I think not like, oh my God, like so-and-so is like absolutely done for the season. Again, recording Monday morning, guess we'll find out some of, the team's injuries and such, but, I'm pretty sure there was a kicker that went down and then there was a safety that had to kick in his place. I can't remember what team that was for. But yeah, for us, the Steelers, we did have a couple players down late in the fourth quarter. TJ Watt might have a pectoral injury. Today we'll find out exactly how long he'll be out, short-term, long-term.
His brother had the same thing a couple years ago. JJ Watt, I think he tore his pec too.
Yeah, Najee had a foot injury. What injuries did you guys have there at the end?
Jawan James, who is our second string left tackle. Obviously, Ryan Stanley didn't play last year. They're hoping he comes back sooner rather than later this year. He's expected to come back this year. We don't know when. He went down with Achilles injury. As soon as I saw the replay, I was like, that's Achilles.
Snapped
that's Achilles.
it. Mm-hmm.
I saw the way his foot bent.
Mm-mm.
That was Achilles. Vince Beagle and then Kyle Fuller, who's a DB. That was kind of a big loss because we lost a ton of DBs last year. But that's 3 compared to last year, week 1. They lost 7 ending injuries last year, including J.K. Dobbins, Marcus Peters, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, Ronnie Stanley, Derek Wolfe, LJ Ford, all pretty much starters on the team. They lost last year. So I don't want to see anyone hurt, but
you've already faced this adversity. Right.
Pretty good. Yeah.
You've already faced this type of adversity. So,
yeah,
you guys know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Around the league, though, I would agree that overall there weren't as many devastating injuries. I mean, poor Poe is still down. He's definitely out for the rest of the season.
Well, we'll see. We'll see who takes his place. They had tryouts, auditions last week for who would take his place. So week 2, they'll have their season home opener at M&T Bank Stadium. We'll see who's going to take his place.
Mascot costumes are hot. I've definitely like hot in temperature, not sexy. But no, I actually threw on in high school, I threw on the mascot costume a few times. And I mean, I only last about 15 minutes before I got to take the mascot off.
I had a friend who was the Terp mascot. He said that thing smelled. It was so bad.
Yeah. I mean,
it needs to be dry cleaned.
I don't think that they clean it very often, like after every use, which it probably needs. Yeah, it's disgusting.
That is disgusting. Not something I want to do. Good luck to whoever's the next Poe. Next week.
Poor Poe.
Poor Poe. But, for the most part, I didn't think there were as many injuries around the league as compared to last year. More specifically for the Ravens. They lost 7 last year. Now they lost 3. For the most part, they're like second stringers anyway. So I guess it's a silver lining.
Yeah.
Silver lining. Moving on. You guys play the Patriots.
Yes, ma'am.
On Sunday. What are your feelings going into that game? I had the Patriots D. I still think they have a good front. I think they have a good DBs. We'll see what their offense looks like. Thought they were going to be one of the front runners this year. It's week 1, or we're going into week 2, so they still could be. What are your feelings going into week 2 playing the Patriots?
Well, I have some strong feelings, actually. I was very much not doing well yesterday. because I mean, first of all, that game should have never went to overtime. So here's my strong feelings of going into week
And the
2.
Bengals almost won it, and they like completely condiffed it.
Evan McPherson, I'm so sorry that you were put in this position because, man, you normally have an iron toe. And I think he made like a 59-yard field goal in the beginning of the game. And I was like, yo, this dude
had
is
high
sick.
snaps throughout the entire game. And then the laces were facing his foot. And apparently kickers don't like it when the laces are facing them. They like it when it's turned away.
Placeholder messing up.
Yeah. So that's what kind of condiffed it and made it go wide left. But I thought the Bengals had it.
Huber Holder from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly.
Have won that game, in my opinion, like 40-20. And I mean, that's how bad our offense is right now. Like Mitch was, and there's a lot of people that actually like Mitch Trubisky. He's not terrible. I'm trying to think of like a really
six. I'll give you that. He's never had a pick six.
Well, that's good. You know,
people think that's a big deal. I'm like, sure.
That's like in baseball. Like, oh well, you know, he hits 250. He's never had 100 strikeout season. You know what I mean? It's like, dude's like, okay, but at the same time, like you were put in positions like with good field position to score, and like you couldn't do that. You know,
yeah.
Granted,
that's
that offensive line.
That's Mitch though.
Yeah.
You know, he never can. He's like not successful in the red zone. Like, he never really has been. He's never been that quarterback, you know? He's never had like he has the arm strength, obviously, but when it comes to being successful in the red zone, he's just not there.
I mean, some of the passes he was throwing, I was like, dude, like those aren't even I don't know if you saw this. There was a incredible catch that Claypool made in the red zone, and the ball should have been like thrown like more towards the middle, and he actually had to like reach out and grab it.
Catch?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like,
there was two. Didn't Deontay have a one-handed catch?
Oh, Deontay did too. I'm like, those are bad passes. The wide receivers making up for your mistakes. Like, clean it up. Yeah. So that's my feeling. My strong feelings going into week 2. You're a big fan of the Patriots, D. I think that that's going to be a bigger test for our offense, considering 1, our offensive line, young, not doing so hot. 2, not the biggest fan of Mitch Trubisky. Nope. And 3, we're probably not going to have TJ Watt on defense, and our defense was really just keeping us in that game. So who knows what'll happen this week?
Yeah, I
feel better after venting.
You feel good?
I feel so much better. Yesterday I
might actually lose this game, but
hopefully not.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Mitch can bring. You know, they kind of got all maybe the kinks out. I'll go with that. It was again like mixed in with the weather. It wasn't good for really anyone. I mean, even at the Jets game, the Jets and Ravens game, Joe Flacco's getting booed. They all went Mike White. I guess their backup quarterback right now, because Zach Wilson is not technically. I don't think he's on IR, but he's not playing until week 4 or week 5, and. Yeah, they were asking for Mike Wilson. I'm like, your wide receivers couldn't make catches. Some of our players did not make catches either. It's not just Joe Flacco. It's not just Lamar. There's several dropped passes from both teams, and it was because of the weather. I mean, these are professional football players. They practice, you know, with the weather, they'll wet their football.
Yeah,
they fun stuff like that
with wet balls. They practice with wet balls.
Yeah. They practice this way, you know, that it shouldn't be quite the surprise.
Right. However, you're on the East Coast.
It happens. Yeah. That's what fall is on the East Coast, kind of gloomy-ish weather, cold, and a little bit of rain.
What are you excited about for this coming week? You guys got a home opener as well.
I am excited to see what the Dolphins bring, because last year, the Ravens lost to them. Lamar was sacked 4 times. I'm kind of scared about the offensive line, considering all the same players on the Dolphins are coming back. They lost to that. They had a really tough game last year when they played the Dolphins. So we'll see how that looks. Tua looked okay. I'm still not a Tua fan. I just think he's just a fill-in until they find a better quarterback in college that they can draft high.
Not every college QB that's like stellar in college can be a good NFL QB. I mean, there's so many cases of
so
this.
many. Yeah, but Tua's been injured like so many times. He's had some pretty significant injuries, and I'm sitting there like, you really want to do this? Okay, like do it, whatever. People trust him. He's got arm strength. Tyreek Hill's high on him, like loves him. I don't think Tyreek Hill had a touchdown yesterday, but he definitely contributed in that offense as he
I
always
think
does.
people were a little underwhelmed, especially after drafting him in fantasy.
Yeah, I drafted him.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
Again, week 1 was not my week. I gotta do better.
I'll have you know, I came out of fantasy retirement, and I'll have you know, I won my first game back, and I didn't look at it all day. I was just chilling. Mind you, I work during football Sunday, so I was in the middle of work, and then I was like, oh, look, I won. And you know who gave me the most points? Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley. They killed for me. Thank you, Lord.
See, I was scared that Saquon was going to get injured, so I stayed away from that. Stay away from Christian McCaffrey. No,
he
had
didn't get as
game.
many touches as people had hoped, I think.
Yeah, I think he had a touchdown still, right?
I'm sure.
He did pretty well. I had Tyreek Hill. I had like all these guys where I thought it was almost like a revenge for them. Tyreek Hill wants to go off because he wasn't expecting to get traded or go to the Dolphins. I thought he was going to stay in Kansas City. So did he. I had DJ Moore because I thought Baker Mayfield doesn't really have much to throw to, so I thought DJ would be the guy. Nope. Baker.
Jokes.
Week 1 was not my thing. I can't even look at it. I woke up this morning and DraftKings said, you won $1. I said,
oh
no.
Uh-oh. Hey, at least you're in a betting state. I'm sitting over here. Can't bet.
Only on DraftKings, not on non-FanDuel. I think by the winter we're allowed to like actually make bets, parlays, over under.
Fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm getting into the betting scene a little bit. I think it's fun. I can see how like some people can be addicted. I like don't addiction. Don't lose your whole paycheck in one parlay, but I can see how people like have to do it. I think I would just do it for fun, and it's probably because I'm like not allowed to do it. So I'm like, oh, whenever it's legal here, like I'll just do it for fun. Blah blah. Maybe I'll drive over to Vegas. And
that's what I'm saying. I have friends that drive into the next state. I think they go to Virginia. Is it Virginia to do?
How far is like Atlantic City from you?
Like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's not shoot. I would do that.
I mean, I just want to go over the border and I don't do that, but
like sit in your car still.
Yeah. Well, when I just drive over the different area than I did before. When I lived in Northern Maryland, Pennsylvania was like 25, 30 minutes away.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can bet in that state, but I'm assuming you can. I don't know.
Yes.
So I probably would if I still lived up there, but I don't. It's a little farther now. So not doing that. No, especially with gas still pretty high over here. No.
Yep. The gas still high. Save your pennies. Don't lose bets.
Yeah. So hopefully we get good weather, however, for both games this week. If we have bad weather, there's a good chance you guys have bad weather too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think the Ravens edge it out. I think it'll be a close game though. I don't know what the line is yet, but I think it's gonna be a close game. Just because they lost to them last year. They've seen them. Lamar was sacked 4 times last year. Better defense this year for the Ravens. More healthier team, obviously, because they lost 7 last year going into week 2. I think they are finally. They're not. I don't want to say finally. They're starting to click on offense because Lamar didn't play in the preseason. He's just had practice reps with his players, with his teammates. So definitely think they edge it out. It might look the same for the Steelers and Patriots though too. I think it will be a close game.
Yeah, I'm looking to see who the Bengals are going to be playing next week. So they're facing the Cowboys, and they didn't do well at all Sunday Night Football. So that, I'm sure. God bless you. I'm sure Joe Burrow will fine tune some of the mistakes, and also let's not fail to remember that Dak is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, has to get surgery on his hand. So the Cowboys obviously were very underwhelming last
Still
night.
getting paid more than Lamar.
Hey, you know what? Can I just have like a couple $1,000? Like just can I just get a little bit of money for, hey, I'll be the equipment person or something. Just sign me to a contract and make it guaranteed. I just want a couple bucks. It's like, I'm not grade grubbing for $25 million a year or anything.
Nope. Same. I'm with
Not
you.
nearly as good of an athlete, but hey, I can catch a couple passes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was an athlete. You were an athlete. We were athletes.
I was an athlete.
It's like
playing in these I played in like a kickball league, and like I played a softball league last year. Thought I was gonna be great. Did okay.
Kickball is so fun.
I know. I love kickball.
I wish it was professional because kickball is just shouldn't be just intramural, in my opinion.
I agree. Love it. Have fun with it, and I'm very competitive with it too.
There you go.
Shocker. Complete shocker. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 2.
Bam.
Wait to see what this week brings. Week 2, Steelers and Patriots, Ravens and the Dolphins. Close games. I think they're going to be close games.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's see if our offense can produce.
Yep. Well, I'm Gabby DePaula.
I'm Drew Jones.
We're signing off.